Welcome to the Board of Selectmen's meeting for Tuesday, November 22nd. And anyone have any announcements? I think we're all kind of still shell-shocked coming out of town meeting.
I wanted to remind people about First Light, which is on December 1st. As I think many people know, it's a sort of celebration of the beginning of the holiday season, and there's events in a number of the commercial districts across town, probably most notably Coolidge Corner and Washington Square. For information, people can take a look at firstlightbrookline.com, and I believe we last week or 2 weeks ago waived the parking fees between, I think, 5 p.m. and 7 p.m. In the commercial areas across town. So no excuse for not coming by and supporting local artists and businesses.
All right. And I bet the Senior Center Chorus is singing, are they?
At the arcade.
At the arcade? What time, do you know?
On the early side when it starts.
Okay.
We get first billing usually.
Yes. Well, they always really, and they are very enthusiastic chorus. They enjoy performing, so.
Selectman Heller.
I want to just give you a brief report on the on community aggregation. We still have not heard from the DPU. Apparently, it's just a matter of volume of cities and towns that are trying to get their plans approved, and they've never asked us for any other additional information or anything of that nature. But it's clear that we won't. Pretty clear that we wouldn't be able to start January 1st because we haven't heard, and we need obviously some time after we hear to send out the letters and get information out to people. The other thing is that it's looking as if the RECs for the green energy have come down in price. So it's looking as if we have the basic, the standard green and the all green, and it looks as if the basic will be actually less than Eversource.
Oh, really? Good.
And this is estimated at this point, and the standard green will be, instead of $7, which is what we had talked about at town, the resolution at town meeting focused on, it'll be somewhere between $4.50 and $5.50 maybe a month. And the all green, I'm still not too clear, around $20 probably a month. So the prices have come down. They might come down even more by the time we get the information. So, that's where we are. In case you were wondering.
Yeah, I noticed owning a solar array, I actually get paid RECs.
Yeah.
And I've noticed the payments have come down. So I'm on the receiving end of those. But the first wind farm in New England, actually North America, is about to turn on off of Block Island. So
That's great.
Good, before the president-elect takes office.
it stops wind
I
farms.
understand he doesn't like wind farms.
I believe we should also note, I believe in the past that the overnight parking ban is affected by the Thanksgiving holiday.
Yes.
So I think people can park overnight on the street on Thursday night, Thanksgiving night. So that's a
little known,
sort of a little known thing. It's an aberration from normal, but if you've got out-of-town guests, there is overnight parking permitted on Thursday night.
And Chairman Wyszynski, I think you should announce that our housing production plan got approved.
Yes. The housing production plan that a number of people worked very hard on, led by the Housing Advisory Board, was approved a couple of weeks ago. And the import of that is if we produce 131 affordable units, actually it's units that could be listed on the state subsidized housing inventory, in a calendar year, we would then be eligible for the 40B safe harbor for a year. So this could get us to the 40B safe harbor sooner. The catch, of course, is we have to approve 131 units, but given all the 40Bs that are in the pipeline, we actually have a shot of approving 131 units next year.
And just to sort of close the loop, safe harbor means we can stop, at least temporarily, 40Bs from being, 40Bs being proposed in town.
Right. So right now, I think we're up to 6 40Bs in the pipeline. 3 more have applied to the state. We're going to be having a few public hearings in the coming weeks. 1299 is back. 1299 Beacon is smaller, but still pretty big. A 40B on Babcock Street has been proposed, and then there's a 40B 455 Harvard Street, which is now it's at the corner of I want to say Coolidge and Harvard. I might be a street or two off.
No, I believe it's Thorndike.
Thorndike, okay. I was close.
The side of that former restaurant, right?
Well, there's an Indian restaurant there now.
Yeah, but it was Be Good, and it was
Right.
a French restaurant.
Right.
Yeah, I believe that's on the corner.
So there's
It's an old gas station, actually.
right. So there's 3 that are applying to the state for project eligibility letters, and I do understand there's more coming. So we still haven't seen the end of it. So I really appreciate, we all really appreciate the hard work of our ZBA. They're really under the gun, and they're taking the brunt of it. So let's get into our calendar and move on. Anyone here for public comment? I see none. And we'll move on to our miscellaneous calendar. We have 2 sets of minutes for November 9th and the 15th. Anyone have any changes?
I would like to propose one change to November 15. That was when I was at the the vigil being held in the cafeteria before a town meeting. If no one objects, I'd like to just indicate that I stepped out for that vigil. So that's,
Why would we object to that?
I have no idea.
Well, just write it down and
Okay.
hand it to Kate, and I'll move that I'll move the minutes as amended. All those in favor, please say aye. Selectman Daley?
Aye.
Selectman Franco?
Aye.
Selectman Heller? Aye. Selectman Green? Aye. And the chair votes aye. And as everyone can tell, Selectman Heller has a case of laryngitis, so that's why has this very deep, whispery voice.
Melodious tone to her voice.
Just read her facial expressions to see where she is on these issues.
Well, I mentioned that she should raise her hand with a 1 for yes and a 2 for no, and I'll recognize that. Next item is a question of accepting a grant in the amount of $102,012 from the Massachusetts Department of Transportation for the TRIPS program, Transportation Resources Information Planning Partnership for Seniors. Ms. Dobeck.
Ruth Ann Dobeck, Director of the Brookline Council on Aging. And what wonderful news to bring to the board a grant that was very competitive. This is a federal money that then comes through the Mass Department of Transportation. Last year, we applied and received a starting year grant of $57,000. And how often is it that you make a second year request and
Get more.
you get even more? So we are extremely proud to bring this in front of the board. And I just want to give a brief update on what the money was used for last year and the intentions for this year, if you vote to
Sure.
accept it. We were able to hire in year 1, actually a local resident and somebody who interned with the Council on Aging from Salem State School of Social Work and then worked at hospice. Carrie Ann Tester, who lives locally, and her children go to school here in town. And she has taken on this project and been recruiting volunteers with the intent of both talking about driving retirement and then your options and resources and how to work with volunteers to make public transportation and all the options for seniors accessible and easy and understandable. And actually, we just hot off the press is our resource guide, chock full of resources on transportation that we are now going to be making available to the public. It's on our website as well. And with this second year starting with your acceptance, the project will continue. We partner both with Newton so that and that's part of the reason that I think that the grant was very successful, because there's a move to be having communities partner and regionalize some of these activities. And we're also looking to work with our state organization, MCOA, and find another community, hopefully more rural than Brookline and Newton, in year 2 to continue this effort, where we're really talking about it's not a matter of if you're going to give up driving, but a question of when. We'll all have to consider that and have a driving retirement plan and really get comfortable with all the resources that are out there. So that's a short answer on what we'll be doing with this $102,000 grant, and we're just very proud to be part of this competitive process.
Selectman Daley.
I just want to say congratulations, and this is really a nice grant, and thanks for all the hard work. And I know that Frank Caro and everyone from Beacon and Brookline is an age-friendly community, and we're all behind this effort. So it's really, I think that the town's come a long way in working on some of these senior issues in the last few years.
Okay. I'll move that we accept the grant in the amount of $102,012 from the Mass Department of Transportation for the TRIPS program, Transportation Resources Information Planning and Partnership for Seniors. All those in favor, please say aye. Selectman Daley?
Aye.
Selectman Franco?
Aye.
Selectman Heller?
Aye.
Selectman Green? Aye. And the chair votes aye. Thank you.
Thank you.
And the next item is a question of accepting a resolution adopting the Town of Brookline Hazard Mitigation Plan 2016 updates pursuant to the requirements of the Federal Disaster Mitigation Act. And this is required for all communities applying to receive FEMA funding for hazard mitigation plans. Commissioner.
Good evening. This shouldn't take any more than 30 or 40 minutes. I just want to go through so
Page by page.
If you could just bear with me. One note on your overnight parking ban for Thursday, unless we declare a snow emergency. So,
Don't tempt fate.
I just want to remind you all.
Do you know something we don't know?
Well, you never know.
There is supposed to be like some freezing rain or something.
I get a little bit nervous when the western part of the state gets 24 inches of snow in November, so I get a little bit concerned. But anyway, pursuant to the requirements of the Federal Disaster Mitigation Act of 2000, all communities who apply for FEMA grants for hazard mitigation have to complete a local multi-hazard mitigation plan. Fortunately for us and all of the communities, our partner communities around metropolitan Boston, the MAPC, the Metropolitan Area Planning Council, receives a grant to actually put the plans together for us, and was funded also by a grant from FEMA. The original plan was completed in 2008, and we brought it before the board for approval of the resolution to adopt that plan in 2008, and it listed a lot of the mitigation measures that the town would use to mitigate natural disasters, floods, hurricanes, severe storms, earthquakes, and all of that sort of stuff. most notably for Brookline, the most prevalent hazards are identified as flooding and winter storms, with lesser hazards identified for hurricanes and other severe storm events. So we gear the plan up to mitigate basically flooding within the town, which you all remember we have experienced on many occasions in the past, and of course winter storm events. That's what this document basically does. This is the 2016 update to the original 2008 plan. It has now been completed, but before FEMA will accept it, it must be adopted and voted by the local Board of Selectmen. So we're here before you tonight. I know the chief is here also as the chair of the Brookline Emergency Management Team, so I'm speaking on behalf of the chief and all the other members of the team to ask you to formally adopt this resolution, which I have included for your signature so that we can begin the process to receive FEMA's acceptance of our plan update.
Yeah. Looking through the document, I see some pictures from '96 when the Kenmore Square Station was flooded. Yeah, I remember that living. I was commuting to downtown Boston at the time. So,
I could go into detail on what's been done since the original plan was adopted in '08 and the mitigation measures that have been completed. I won't do that tonight, but we have also included some additional mitigation measures going forward. And of
course, we have
certainly free to read this document at your leisure.
Of course, we have the Muddy River mitigation that's nearing completion now.
Yeah.
Selectman Daley.
But part of it hasn't been funded by the federal government, the actual removal of the Phragmites, right?
Phase 1 of the Muddy River project is for all practical purposes, complete. Phase 2, which deals more with downstream of the Phase 1 project, plus upstream, which is all in Brookline, was a two-component project. One was for flood control, and the second was environmental restoration. When we were talking about the Phase 2 of the Muddy River plan back in, well, it's been God knows how long now, but it was anticipated that the federal government would fund the bulk of both environmental restoration and Phase 2, flood control. That hasn't happened. The federal government can't seem to pass a budget any time in the past or in the future probably. But because of that, we have now probably lost the funding for the environmental restoration piece. Flood control is under design right now. That's the one that, of course, impacts, damages the most. That is moving forward, has been funded by all the parties concerned, and we're anticipating construction to start probably a year and a half down the road on Phase 2. And of course, there are other local implications of what happens when Phase 2 begins, most notably the Carlton Street footbridge. But that's a subject for another night.
Well, I do want to say, though, that clearly a lot of work went into this, and I saw you had a lot of meetings and so forth, and we should say for the public that it's a 136-page document. But on the whole, I was pleased to see that I think our disaster potential is fairly low compared to some other communities that are a little closer to the coast or, have bigger fire hazards or things like that. I thought, as you mentioned, we do have some flood potential, mainly from the Muddy River, but there was some slight earthquake potential, but generally speaking, I thought we came out of it looking pretty good.
Yes, you're correct. We're pretty much low risk on everything but flood hazards, moderate to high risk on flooding. But since the major floods of '96 and '98, we've done a lot to improve our system. We've done a lot to improve the flood carrying capacity of the Muddy River, and we're in a much better place today.
Yes, Selectman Heller.
I'm wondering whether you've had any contact with planning department about the vulnerability assessment that's being done by a group of Northeastern students Maria Morelli is on top of that, and I know she is going to make a presentation to us about it, the Climate Action Committee. But I'll share this document with her because I think the climate action issues impact this, obviously. And the report is basically trying to document what kinds of vulnerabilities we will have in the future if climate action, if climate carbon emissions proceed as they have been doing. So it's obviously, a prediction, but I think it's something that we should pay attention to. So I would like to share this.
You most definitely should share it with them. I will tell you that climate action is one of the topics that's discussed in this hazard mitigation plan. So we did get into climate change and what the impacts of that would be. So.
Okay.
Okay, so I'll move that we execute a resolution adopting the Town of Brookline Hazard Mitigation Plan 2016 update pursuant to the requirements of the Federal Disaster Mitigation Act of 2000 for all communities applying to receive FEMA funding for hazard mitigation grants. All those in favor, please say aye. Selectman Daley?
Aye.
Selectman Franco?
Aye.
Selectman Heller?
Aye.
Selectman Green? Aye. And the chair votes aye. Thank you. Thank you. Next item is the question of approving and executing a contract with the Galante Architecture Studio in the amount of $516,600 for the preparation of design documents in connection with the Brookline Fire Department Vehicle Repair and Training Center. Mr. Masak.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, this is a long time bringing this facility forward, and I'm pleased to recommend that we support this contract.
Have we had any business with with the Galante firm before?
Yes, they did the feasibility study for this, and it was a very broad and extensive document that we
So
can
you have
use.
confidence in them? And
Yes,
Okay.
they've done the Harvard maintenance facility, and that was a big reason we chose them.
okay.
We should say that this is for a fire department vehicle repair facility, and we heard from the former chief a number of times how much they need this because they're currently sort of doing repairs out in the street in some cases.
Yes.
And how their training facility is outdated and needs some updating to be more useful and to better mimic real-life conditions that the fire department may face when going out and fighting fires in town.
Okay, so I'll move that we approve and execute the contract with the Galante Architecture Studio in the amount of $515,600 for the preparation of design documents in connection with the Brookline Fire Department Vehicle Repair Facility and Firefighter Training Facilities Project. All those in favor, please say aye. Selectman Daley?
Aye.
Selectman Franco?
Aye.
Selectman Heller?
Aye.
Selectman Green? Aye. Chair votes aye. And the next item, this one's you too.
Yes, sir.
Question of approving change order number 3 in the amount of $450.73 for work performed by the contractor network in connection with the Municipal Service Center renovation. Mr. Masak.
This is a change order of 9 items. I can review each and every item if you so choose.
I can read.
The contract is late and continues to be late, but we've made some good forward progress this month, and hopefully by the end of next month, I can report that we're completed and bring a final change order closing out the project.
This has been going on for how long?
Too long. That was a glib answer. July 1st was the completion date, and it's November, so.
Okay. Questions, comments? So move that we approve the change order number 3 in the amount of $450.73. That's a net amount, but there's more stuff going on than $450 for work performed by the contractor network in connection with the Municipal Service Center renovation project. All those in favor, please say aye. Selectman Daley?
Aye.
Selectman Franco?
Aye.
Selectman Heller?
Aye.
Selectman Green? Aye. And the chair votes aye. The next item is a question of approving the application of Taberna de Haro, holder of an all-kinds alcoholic beverage license for the appointment of Sabrina de Cuna as an alternate manager. And for alternate manager, we generally don't ask the person to appear. The application does appear to be in order and has been approved by the police department. Any questions or comments on this item? Therefore, I'll move that we approve the application of Taberna de Haro, doing business as Taberna de Haro, holder of an all-kinds alcoholic beverage license, common victualler, and entertainment at 999 Beacon Street for the appointment of Sabrina de Cuna as an alternate manager. All those in favor, please say aye. Selectman Daley?
Aye.
Selectman Franco?
Aye.
Selectman Heller?
Aye.
Selectman Green? Aye. And the chair votes aye. And the next item is a temporary all-kinds alcoholic beverage license to Fotine Andreatis for a holiday party to be held on Saturday, December 3rd, 2016, from 8 p.m. to 1 a.m. at 162 Goddard Avenue, the Annunciation Greek Orthodox Cathedral. I'll move that item. All those in favor, please say aye. Selectman Daley?
Aye.
Selectman Franco?
Aye.
Selectman Heller?
Aye.
Selectman Green? Aye. And the chair votes aye. Moving on to our main calendar, the first item is the building committee for the Brookline High School expansion. This is our second big school project that's moving forward, and Selectman Heller is going to be the Selectman's representative on the project and one of 3 co-chairs. So it'll be Selectman Heller from the Selectmen, Susan Wolf-Ditkoff from the school committee, and George Cole, I believe, from the building commission. So this should be a really good committee. Are we appointing names?
Yes, we have a list here.
For us tonight.
Is that your place?
So do you want me to read the names, or? Okay. So we're trying to bring in kind of a broad range of people from throughout the community and various constituencies. So we have the Park and Rec Commission represented by Nancy O'Connor. The school parent community is being represented by Ian Rothman and Jordan Moranis. The high school, the greater high school community, these are neighbors and people live in the area. Matthew Odens, who's also on the planning board, and Bobby Nabel, who's also on the advisory committee. And I'm glad to see an advisory committee member on there, since this is going to be a very expensive project. So someone needs to be kind of representing the fiscal aspects specifically. Mr. Kleckner or designee, then the building commissioner or designee, Dan Bennett, superintendent of schools, Andrew Bott, deputy superintendent of schools for admin and finance, Mary Ellen Dunn, deputy superintendent of schools for teaching and learning, Nicole Gittens, and Anthony Meyer, the high school headmaster, Janae Ramos, the dean of the faculty, and a student representative to be determined later. So, anyone want to say anything else about this?
No, well, I mean, I will just say, since Nancy's kind of hoarse tonight on her behalf, this is a very important project. It's one we've been talking about for years, and, you know, clearly with our bulge of more students than we can deal with is moving up toward the high school. So I'm happy to see this finally getting underway.
And we're not only approving the membership of the committee, we're approving the charge of the committee, which includes advising and supporting the Building Commission, Board of Selectmen, and School Committee in connection with our oversight of the project. The Building Committee will work with the project manager and consultants in support of the project, and the project manager shall attend all meetings and serve as the committee's staff person, and the Building Committee shall be concerned with all aspects of the project, including budget, schedule, safety, public relations, coordination with town agencies, logistics, and contract compliance. So this is a pretty important committee. It's an important project. Selectman Franco.
So I note that the second to last sentence in the first paragraph differs between two pieces of paper in our packet, and I'm wondering which is the charge that we're approving.
Let me explain. The school committee voted a slightly different wording than we had. And, to be truthful with you, I think it's a perfectly fine change. It makes it clear that the superintendent is going to fill the slots of the dean representative and the student representative positions, basically.
So I have no objection to the change. I just want to know I want to be clear about which charge is before us and that we're voting to adopt.
I believe we should be voting, if we want to, unless we want to make the
So the
school
one-
committee reconcile with us.
The one that's on the back of the slate of actual members is the correct version.
That's the one we had at our places this evening.
Okay.
And let me also add that, the co-chairs have realized that this is going to be a very important project, and it's important to get out in front of it. So we've been talking about having our first meeting, contacting everyone to try to schedule the first meeting in the first week of December.
Wow, that's aggressive.
We're hopefully we'll be able to do that. We'll see other people's availability.
I should note that the Baldwin Committee we're meeting November 30th for our first time.
Okay.
Wow, cool.
So Mr. Buckner
So I'm glad that all of the slots, we're missing the student representative, but we should have that soon, are filled so we really can get going. I'm pleased by the caliber of the people who have been appointed, and I do think it'll be a very serious and effort, and I hope we'll be able to work with the architects right now. They're in the position of trying to figure out what we need in order to accommodate that bulge of students. And we should have the feasibility contract signed very shortly, and they'll start getting into the really difficult work.
Okay. So I'll move that we approve the charge of the committee and the slate of membership. All those in favor, please say aye. Selectman Daley?
Aye.
Selectman Franco?
Aye.
Selectman Heller?
Aye.
Selectman Green? Aye. And the chair votes aye. Next item is the Council on Aging Personnel, question of authorizing the filling of the bus driver in the Council on Aging. Ms. Dobek.
So I guess transportation is the theme. I came in front of the board back in September to request approval to fill our building custodian when Ralph Perkins was retiring. The good news was the candidate who was most qualified was our bus driver, James Tong, fluent in Mandarin and Cantonese and English, and known to the senior community. So with his promotion to building custodian, it left us without a bus driver. So we are now seeking permission to fill this essential position of bus driver providing transportation. I know that the board has already heard from seniors clamoring, when is the bus driver position going to be filled? I hear it daily as well. This remains a tremendous need in the community. So again, we are seeking permission to fill the bus driver position this evening.
Okay. You'll take efforts to attract a diverse applicant pool?
Absolutely.
Any other questions or comments?
No, I will just reiterate, this is, the senior bus is how a lot of people get around, and a very important position.
Yep. I'll move that we authorize the filling of the bus driver vacancy in the Council on Aging Department. All those in favor, please say aye. Selectman Daley?
Aye.
Selectman Franco?
Aye.
Selectman Heller?
Aye.
Selectman Green? Aye. Chair votes aye. Thank you.
Thank you.
And how do you want to, the next item is filling 2 slots on the Baldwin project?
I believe we voted everybody else, but we didn't have the names from the school superintendent of John Coe and David
Gasiach?
Gasiak.
Yeah, I don't know how to pronounce
I'm-
Rob. Don't ask me how to
I hope
pronounce
he'll
names.
forgive us if we're saying that wrong, but those are the parent representatives that
Yeah.
they came up with. And I believe one is from the Baker School community and one is from the Heath School
Right,
community.
yeah, Dave, I think is from Heath.
So we'd like those 2 people voted on.
So we're, with this, we're probably looking at least one more appointment to
Yeah,
the
I'm
Baldwin
working on,
Committee.
as you mentioned, all of these projects are going to be very expensive, and so the advisory committee indicated they would like a representative on this committee, and I'm working on that now and hope to have that for you next week.
Good, okay. That'll fill the committee out, and we can get moving. So I'll move the appointment of Dave Gasiach, I hope I pronounced it right, and John Coe. We have the spelling right, so it'll go into the minutes correctly. To the Ninth School at Baldwin Project Oversight Committee. All those in favor, please say aye. Selectman Daley?
Aye.
Selectman Franco?
Aye.
Selectman Heller?
Aye.
Selectman Green? Aye. And the chair votes aye. Next item is a change of manager. Public hearing on the application of Brothers Restaurant Corporation. And transfer of stock, new officer. So this is the application of Brothers Restaurant, doing business as the Brothers Restaurant, Concepcion Perez, holder of a license to expose, keep for sale, and to sell all kinds of alcoholic beverages, to be drunk on the premises, as a 7-day common victual license at 404 Harvard Street. Mr. Baranowski.
Thank you, Selectman Wyszynski and members of the board. Adam Barnowski, I'm here on behalf of the Brothers Restaurant Corp. With me is Alvaro Lopera, who's the proposed manager of record. As a way of background, Brothers Restaurant is at 404 Harvard Street. They're just north of Coolidge Corner between Fuller and Williams. They are the holder of a Section 12 all-alcoholic beverage license. They serve breakfast, lunch, and dinner 7 days a week. Their hours of operation are 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. on Sunday through Wednesday and 7 a.m. to 11 on Thursday through Saturday. They've been in operation for nearly 2 years. They run a very successful restaurant. They've had no issues with this board of the ABCC. The proposal is Mr. Lopera, he's purchased 100% of the stock of the company. So he is coming in to take the place now of Concepcion Perez. He's going to be the manager of record, the sole shareholder, and the president of the company. This board might recall that when we came to you about 2.5 years ago on this application, in addition to Mr. Perez, there were 2 non-owners that were kind of co-operators, which was Edison Gutierrez and his brother Cesar Gutierrez, that being the 3 chefs you might have seen on the awning of the restaurant. So those other 2 chefs are going to remain very, very active as far as the restaurant goes. I believe that Edison Gutierrez has applied to be an alternate manager there. As far as the board is concerned, as far as the public is concerned, there will be no changes in the hours of operation, the menu, the layout. Really, it'll go essentially unchanged. And as far as Mr. Lopera is concerned, he is well-versed in the hospitality industry. We provided a resume. He's been involved in running cafes and hotels. He works professionally as a real estate broker at the moment. He's tip certified, crowd manager certified. He met with Lieutenant Hayes I believe 2 weeks ago. I've met with him several times and had discussions about the rules and responsibilities of manager and some of the particularities of the town. I think he's going to do a great job there, and certainly he can answer any questions the board may have. Thank you.
I did have one question. I mean, are you currently working in the real estate business? Because if you're the manager of record, you're supposed to be on site.
He is planning to be on site, I believe, 40 plus. This will become his full-time position.
Okay.
He can certainly take it.
Selectman Green.
Yeah, I'd just like to note that I appreciate the fact that the menu will not change. I really, really enjoy the short rib tacos. So.
I wonder if Mr. LaPera can tell us a little bit about what he learned from his conversation with Lieutenant Hayes and some of the things that we require from managers of record for alcohol licenses in this town.
Okay, Joe. Good afternoon, everybody. I spoke to him last week, almost a couple of weeks ago, and one of the main things that I want to is going to be in place is like no one is going to be serving alcohol without asking for ID. Probably somebody who's like 70 years old, I don't know if they can drink, probably that person we're not going to be asking, but that's one of the more important things that we address to Cesar and the other manager that we're going to work on it. The other thing is no one who's working either before or after the chief is going to be drinking. It will be meetings probably like once a week or once a day. Everybody's going to think, if we see somebody, they're going to be in a way out. So things like that, we're going to be secure, crosses my back, and we're going to run the business the way they've been coming. Probably we're going to do the best we can.
Can you talk a little bit about the logbook and what has to be in that binder or that document?
I hope I remember. I've been doing all this stuff, but I know some of them, like half an hour before, it has to be call in or whatever they call out or whatever they call, not be serving alcohol to anyone. Before they open, which is 10 o'clock, nobody can be serving alcohol. And again, the ID is one of the more important things.
But you have to keep a record of the tip certification of your servers.
That's another important thing too, that everybody's going to sign in, whoever's serving the alcohol. And it's in place now, actually. I was there after I talked to the lieutenant. We went there, they had the records pretty well so far, so it will be continue on that.
And did the lieutenant warn you that we take a service of underage patrons very seriously in this town, and we will send people in who look like they're over 21 but aren't, to try and trick you? And I hope that we don't see you back here for a violation, underage service violation, and consider yourself warned that we will try and trip you up.
Well, we're going to work very hard in that, like I said in the beginning, and we're going to be there. And that's why we had the other chef is going to be certified for all these, in case, I'm in the back or something, I'm doing something else, at least we have somebody else watching. And maybe like both of us, maybe three of us doing the same thing. We're going to be careful about that.
Selectman Heller.
Well, I'm also glad to see you're not really changing the menu, since although I don't eat the same thing that Selectman Green does. I agree with him that the food is quite good. I've been there many times. I live not very far away, and whenever I've been there with anyone else, the other person always likes it too. So all I have to say is we'll be flattered if you ask us for our ID. And, I hope that you achieve success, because it is an asset to the neighborhood to have this kind of quality restaurant open with the hours that you are. And also, I think serving brunch as late as you do, or breakfast as late as you do, is an asset as well.
Well, Saturdays and Sundays is the biggest day right now. Sometimes you're going to see lines outside. We're hoping to see lines all the way to the corners of the street.
Okay, this is a public hearing. If there is any members of the public who wish to speak for or against this license, now is your time. I see none. So I'll move that we approve the application of Brothers Restaurant Corporation doing business as the Brothers Restaurant, Concepcion Perez, owner holder of a license to expose, keep for sale and sell all kinds of alcoholic beverages to be drunk on the premises as a 7-day common victual license at 404 Harvard Street for a change in manager, transfer stock, and new officer as follows. From manager, Concepcion Perez to Albiero Lopera. Transfer stock, Concepcion Perez to Albiero Lopera. And a new officer, Concepcion Perez to Albiero Lopera. All those in favor, please say aye. Selectman Daley?
Aye.
Selectman Franco?
Aye.
Selectman Heller?
Aye.
Selectman Green?
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good luck.
All right, thank you very much. Good night.
And next item is a question of approving the application of Cafe Nero Americas, Inc., doing business as Cafe Nero, Michael Ford Deegan. President for a common victual license at 1 Harvard Street. Seating capacity of 20, hours of operation, Monday to Sunday, 5:30 a.m. to 10. Mr. Allen.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, for the record, my name is Robert Allen. I have a law practice at 300 Washington Street here in Brookline Village. I'm happy to be representing Cafe Nero. They have actually over 600 stores, maybe closer to 700 stores, over in the UK, Poland. They've just come to the U.S. a couple years ago. I've been working with them for a couple of years. They probably have about 8 or 9 stores open now. We're actually going to be coming back before you to talk about the former 7-Eleven site in Washington Square. But they're very excited to open in Brookline. Even though you may think another coffee place, this is a little bit different. Not only are they different in the fact that they roast their own beans, unlike no other large place like that does that, but they also have a really good European-style lunch menu. I know Mr. Kleckner and I always talk about the need for new places to have lunch here in Brookline Village, so this will be another place. And they combine good food and good coffee with a warm atmosphere. They have really cool spots if you go in there. Each spot is kind of different but very welcoming. Coffee houses have changed from in and out to a place that you actually hang out with for a period of time. So right now, the seats are listed as 20. We do have planning board approval for 31, but as a result of town meeting, our ZBA hearing got pushed till December 8th. But I do anticipate that we will be going up to 31 seats at that time. Pretty straightforward. It's 5:30 to 10 p.m., Monday through Sunday. It's right over here next to the
bank.
It used to be the ISIS Spa, so it's next to the cleaners there. But I know that the owner of the building, there's actually a new owner of that building. He's very excited to have a prominent tenant in there and one that will be a long-term tenant. So it's a long-term lease there, and they're really looking forward to coming back.
Yeah, I visited their shop in Jamaica Plain.
Oh, good.
And it's kind of livened up Center Street, so I hope they do the same here and give Starbucks a run for their money.
Yeah, I stopped in the one at Wellesley, the old train station there, right on the tracks there, and it was really good. It was a happening spot. So
Making the journey west to Wellesley. I thought you were a Brookline boy.
Hey, every now and then I have to put on my Google map and see what it's like outside the borders of Brookline.
Bivouac your way down Route 9.
Exactly.
So you'll have to come back to us on the seating.
I don't think I do have to come back to you on the seating. I think Brenda can handle that administratively because the CV license, that wouldn't be, the change of seating wouldn't trigger anything for the board.
It's not a liquor license, that's...
Right, it's just a CV license. If I do, I will, but usually I defer to
Well,
Brenda.
can
and
we
she's-
make our vote like 31 or some lesser number as approved by the zoning board of appeals?
Make a conditional vote, right?
Yeah.
Okay, why don't we do that?
Yeah,
That saves you a trip.
that would be great.
Any other questions or comments? So I will move that we approve the application of Cafe Nero Americas, Inc., doing business as Cafe Nero, Michael Ford Deegan, president for common victual license at 1 Harvard Street, seating capacity of up to 31 seats as approved by the zoning board of appeals. Hours of operation Monday to Sunday, 5:30 a.m. to 7 p.m. Then just note that currently they're approved for 20.
Did you say 7
Did you say
p.m.?
7 p.m.?
I think it's
'Cause
10
it says
p.m.
10
10 p.m.,
on the,
yeah.
actual
Yeah, it says
application.
10.
Okay.
That was a Freudian slip. Selectman Daley?
No, I'm just working out the Freudian part of it. You have to stop drinking caffeine at some time.
It's the soda.
Is that
All those in favor, please say aye. Selectman Daley?
Aye.
Selectman Franco?
Aye.
Selectman Heller? Aye. Selectman Green?
Aye.
Chair votes aye.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. And our last license is question of approving the application of Green Line Growers LLC, doing business as Brookline Grown, Robert Zucker, owner, and Emily Schwartz, manager, for food vendor license at 14 Pleasant Street. And you're looking for hours of operation Monday to Friday, 10 a.m. to 8 p.m., and Saturday and Sunday, 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. Mr. Zucker, welcome.
Thank you.
Tell us what's going on.
So we opened our store in July. We are a specialty food store focused on local food. We have our own farm that we have in the adjacent garage as a accessory use for our store. We grow lots of great greens and radishes and turnips. We grow those year-round, and we're hoping to be able to sell those in our store year-round. We just would like to also be able to make some food there as well, make salads, pesto, and some other items that go well with the stuff that we're growing.
Cool.
Yeah.
Selectman Daley.
So you're growing like hydroponically, or?
That's correct.
Oh.
Yeah, we have 3 repurposed shipping containers that we grow all of our produce in.
Wow, well, I am always looking for basil out of season, so.
We have basil year-round.
Okay.
Just come by, I can give you a tour of the farm and give you some basil
I'd
as well.
love to see it.
Or sell you some basil on that.
Selectman Green.
I know in some parts of the country there are disputes as to whether hydroponic growing is organic growing. Is that an issue for you? Here in Massachusetts?
We are currently not certified as organic. We're working on that process. We've talked to a person that certifies farms, and they are willing to certify us once we adjust something in our farm. And we're working with Freight Farms, who we bought the farms from, to help us be able to do that.
But you don't use pesticides?
We use no pesticides, and we're very local.
Or fertilizers?
No, we use nutrients only that are in the water.
So your location is a little bit of a maybe neglected part of town. It maybe is in need of a little bit of a facelift. I'm wondering how foot traffic is, how business has been over the past, 6 months since you opened?
Yeah, when we opened in July, we actually just got our sign up, which has been helpful. We have some good traffic, lots of people walking to and from Trader Joe's, and as they pop in, they say, I'll come back next time, because they already have their bags. So that's been some good traffic. Los Amigos has actually been good. It's a new restaurant there that's been pretty active and is drawing a lot of traffic into the area as well.
Okay.
I see on your menu, you've got mason jar overnight oats.
Yes.
What is that?
So it's like oatmeal. We put the oats in water overnight, and they are flavorful and have more nutrients than cooking them in your microwave really quickly.
So cold brewed oatmeal?
No, that's cold brewed coffee. But yes, it's a cold brewed oatmeal. Yes, exactly.
Okay, so I'll move that we approve the application of Green Line Growers LLC, doing business as Brookline Grown. Robert Zucker, owner, and Emily Schwartz, manager, for a food vendor license at 14 Pleasant Street. Hours of operation Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. Saturday and Sunday, 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. All those in favor, please say aye. Selectman Daley?
Aye.
Selectman Franco?
Aye.
Selectman Heller? Aye. Selectman Green?
Aye.
Chair votes aye.
Thank you very much.
Good luck.
Thank you.
And the last item on the agenda is a noise bylaw waiver, and this is a public hearing on the request of KCE KOB LLC for a waiver of the noise bylaw in connection with landscaping services at 34 White Place to be performed on Tuesday, November 29th at 1:30 a.m., and if necessary, the following night. And we know White Place is right up against the T, which is the source of the problem.
That's right. Mr. Chairman, members of the board, again, Robert Allen, 300 Washington Street. Yeah, this is something that the owner has had its eye on. I believe one of the neighbors has called somebody in the town, perhaps the building department, relative to concerns about the tree, particularly with the winter weather coming. It's always difficult. This is pretty much right on the line, right at the fence. So the only way to take it down would be to work from the T-tracks. The only time the MBTA will give permission is from 1 a.m. till 5 a.m., as this board probably knows. So this, we've had the tree warden go out and look at it, and while he says it definitely has to come down, it's not that imminent harm that doesn't require a public hearing like this. He felt it may last a little bit longer, couldn't say it could fall imminently, but clearly he said it is troubled and may not last the winter. So unfortunately, it's difficult for the neighbors, but you should know that we passed out over 60 flyers informing of the meeting tonight, letting them know it's not going to be quiet, it's going to be chainsaws, it's going to be chopping up the mulch. But they do feel confident. It's Park Landscape. I spoke with Jeff at Park Landscape a number of times. He feels pretty confident, barring any issues, that we should have it done in one night. So, and we gave notice to the hotel and everybody else on the Route 9 side of things too. So we think we covered the basis. I'm not saying the board won't get a call about it, but hopefully one night of disruption will save a tree from falling on at least 2 or 3 homes that probably would happen eventually.
Selectman Green?
Is there a reason why you're doing it on a work night as opposed to a weekend?
Well, the T runs a little bit later on the weekends. So, as far as I could tell, the T would only address it Monday through Friday, and I got that from the landscaping company. We originally had a date 2 weeks ago, but it was determined that a public hearing was needed, and then we hit town meeting, so we continued it till the 29th. But working with the T has been, to get a date has been tough. They limited the days and times and everything else. So
We've run into that
Yeah.
with other projects.
Yeah.
We should just give you fair warning that some other people down the road, they're on White Place, who were trying to do some work, have the T having given them a date, then canceled on them. So, you may have to keep checking.
yeah, that's why we did 2 nights. That's why we said it fall into 2 nights, just in case that it might roll into a second night. But the hope is that things work out, particularly with the weather coming.
This
Right.
is just on our agenda for Tuesday, November 29th. We don't have a second night on. Did you request
No,
it?
it's, and if necessary, the following
Oh,
night.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry.
The T recently sent out a communication to property owners who abut the Green Line tracks, saying that they were going to do an inspection of trees that appeared to them to be in danger of falling on the canary wires. I'm wondering if that communication, that conversation, played into this decision at all.
It actually was strictly coincidental. Tom Brady told me about the walk he's doing. He's actually doing the walk with the MBTA. He asked if, he wanted to hold off and see what happens to that. We don't want to take a chance on this tree, particularly with the neighbor coming in. We don't know when the T's going to actually do that work, but we don't see it coming this winter. So, the one night of disruption will be a lot better if that tree ever falls.
Okay, this is a public hearing. Anyone wishes to speak on this waiver? And I see none. Any other comments from the board?
I'll simply note that if the tree does fall, it's probably going to disrupt the Green Line service for at least a day, maybe longer.
Right,
So
right.
one night of discomfort probably is worth it in the long run to be able to come and go as you please.
And hopefully the T understands that and will cooperate.
Yeah, well.
Fingers crossed.
No lips.
So I'll move that we approve the request of KCE KOB LLC for a waiver of the noise bylaw in connection with landscaping services at 34 White Place to be performed on Tuesdays, November 29th at 1:30 a.m. and if necessary, the following night. All those in favor, please say aye. Selectman Daley?
Aye.
Selectman Franco?
Aye.
Selectman Heller?
Aye.
Selectman Green? Aye. Chair votes aye.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you. And I believe that does conclude our business for the night. Thank you. Great.
Thank you, Chairman Waschinsky.